Good evening. Good evening. It's Tuesday, January 31st. Welcome to the Positional Sports Talk Show post, live streaming on Facebook Live, Twitch, and our Positional Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show made for the fans, from the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. We will provide our opinions and positions on the hottest topics in sports this evening. My name is Big Reg, and I'm joined by my brother, my partner in crime, J3. What's going on, partner?
Good evening, Big Red. What's going on with you?
What's going on, my brother? Had to apologize for the different view this evening. Unfortunately, having a little technical difficulties on my end, so I had to do a little audible. So we're coming to you from the iPhone, but we're gonna make it happen anyway. Hopefully, we'll be joined by one or two of our other partners in crime this evening. But otherwise, me and you, J3, we're gonna make this thing happen. All right.
Yep.
So this evening, we're gonna give you some quick hits. Got to talk about the NFL Conference Championships, do some NBA, and of course, we always leave you with our final post of the evening. As always, we appreciate you tuning in. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy post on the Positional Sports Talk Show channel. Man, I've been updating everybody on U.S. skier Michaela Schifrin after she surpassed Lindsey Vonn Tuesday when we went online. She won two more races last week and came in second in the third race on Sunday, which would have tied her with the great Ingemar Johansson. So Schifrin is now only 2 wins away from becoming the all-time winningest alpine skier in history. Unfortunately, her quest is going to have to wait until March. Next week begins the 2.5 week long Alpine World Championships, but unfortunately, World Championships, just like Olympic wins, don't count for the all-time record because that's season series skiing. So she have to wait till March, but based on where she's going, and again, Schifrin's only 27 years old, 2 wins away the way she's skiing this year. She definitely should get that record by the end of the season. So congratulations to Michaela Schifrin.
Mm-hmm.
On the tennis front, we got to say congrats to number 5 seed Ariana Sabalenka and number 4 seed Novak Djokovic for winning the 2023 Australian Open on the women's and men's side. For Sabalenka, it was her first Grand Slam victory in her career and only her second finals appearance. So that was a huge accomplishment for her because she had gotten to multiple semifinals and would falter, and she got to her first finals last year and was beaten. So big ups to Sabalenka and your boy Joker, man. Novak, boy, he said he had a sore hamstring, and some people was getting on him saying he was just trying to get some sympathy being back in Australia. And he got his 10th Australian Open, which also tied him with Rafael Nadal for his 22nd overall Grand Slam for men. I said it last year before all the controversy came out that I think Djokovic is the greatest overall tennis player of all time, men's.
Yep, you did. Yes, you did.
Nadal is the greatest to ever step foot on clay. Um, but Djokovic, with all his titles, the way he's done it, in the area where he had to deal with Roger Federer, the purest hitting tennis player and the most beautiful male tennis player I've ever seen, and probably would have been the greatest ever if it wasn't for Djokovic. To be able to win 22 Grand Slams during the run of Nadal and during the run of Roger, that is impressive. So they'll both go into the French Open, which starts in late May, trying to set the new standard for men and tie the great Serena Williams for 23 Grand Slam titles.
My question to you is how much longer do you think Joker's gonna play tennis?
I think Joker's going to play tennis longer than Nadal
Mm-hmm.
because the way Nadal plays is so physical and he's a smaller guy. So I think he's probably got another 2 or 3 years where he can win Grand Slams. Where I think this might be Nadal's last year, with the exception of the French Open, because on clay you can't count him out because he's just.
Right.
For you basketball fans, 2 items. First, WNBA free agency for you people interested in the women's game officially starts tomorrow, February 1st. But we had another major announcement and the biggest free agent announcement so far. 2-time champion, former league MVP, Candace Parker, announced this week that she is going to play for the defending champion, Las Vegas Aces. Now, I know y'all say, hey, didn't Big Reg just get on the Aces last week? Absolutely. Because based on what I've been reading, they did one of their players dirty once they found out she was pregnant. But Candace is trying to win another title, but she says her biggest reason for leaving Chicago Sky and going to the Las Vegas Aces is she's a West Coast girl now. Her daughter, who's getting ready to start high school, still was based off the West Coast in LA, where year-round home is. She just had a son with her wife, so she said she wanted to be closer to home, and Vegas was getting her closer to the West Coast. She's probably going to play one more year, so she's trying to win one more title. Why not hook up with the defending champions? They got a 2-time MVP, A'ja Wilson, with her. One of her former teammates is the point guard for the Aces. They still got Kelsey Plum. They got a stacked squad, so if she can win one more title, she would be the first WNBA player to win 3 titles with 3 different teams. So
I think she can do it too. The way she brings a lot of excitement to the team, and she definitely brings camaraderie with the squad. I think she can do it.
Yeah, it's a huge move for the Aces, especially after the bad publicity they was getting after last week. So we will see how that goes. Also in basketball news, if you're following college basketball, and I know a lot of people don't jump onto the college basketball till the conference championships and then, of course, March Madness when the whole country gets involved just because of the brackets. The men's and women's college basketball season is really heating up, folks. Conference play is more than halfway completed, so you've got all the teams playing the best teams, and a lot of the conferences have now backloaded their schedules. So what they anticipated, the top 3 or 4 teams in the conference will end up playing each other once or twice over these last month of February. So you're going to get some great matchups. And in between, you'll get one of these unique matchups where UConn over the weekend revived their matchup with Tennessee, beat Tennessee. So you get a special out-of-conference play. I think there's another one this week involving South Carolina. So you're going to have some great basketball games on the women's side. And then the men's side is just going bananas. Everybody's getting knocked off. Team that's been consistent is the Purdue men's team. They've had loss, and I believe that was in December. They're 21-1. Everybody else is getting knocked off back and forth. And on the women's side, the best team in the country is still
South Carolina
Lady Gamecocks. They're 21-0, unanimous number 1 all season. They're doing their thing. So Dawn Staley and her ladies are really, really impressive. I got a chance to see them up close and personal when they played Maryland here at the University of Maryland. And man, they put it on Maryland. 8th ranked team in the country right now, and they played with them. They're long, tall, big, fast. They can give it to you any way you want it. So,
speaking of Dawn, didn't she just get a little pay raise?
Oh yeah, she got a pay raise at the beginning of the season. Again, you know, when you keep winning national championships and you just won a gold medal for the women's national team, I think the only person in women's college basketball making more than her is Gino. And he got the most titles ever. That. For you boxing folks, we got a couple of nice big matches coming up this weekend. But last weekend, unified light heavyweight champion Artur Beterbiev continues his not only undefeated record, J3, his record, he's 18-0 with 100% knockouts. So he retained his 3 belts, stopping challenge Anthony Yarde in the 8th round. So this sets up a possibility for an undisputed bout at light heavyweight between Beterbiev and WBO champion Dmitry Bivol. And y'all remember the last time we saw Bivol in the ring in a big match, he was putting it on Canelo Alvarez.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing that may stop that from happening at the end of this year is Alvarez said that he's fighting in May, and then after he fights May, he wants to come back in like September, which is usually when he comes back again, to try to avenge his loss to Bivol in the fall. But if that fight doesn't happen, I mean, if Canelo says he's gonna fight Bivol and signs contract, Bivol got to fight that fight because that's the biggest payday that he can make again. But if that doesn't fall through, Beterbiev and Bivol have been on a collision course. They're both former Russian Olympic boxers. Beterbiev was in the Russian system before he was the big king, and then Bivol came and kind of knocked him off. So they've been having animosity for years now. So for them to finally fight in the pros would be great for boxing. But this weekend, we've got a great card this Saturday. Amanda Serrano fights Erica Cruz for the undisputed women's featherweight titles. They're fighting in New York City at Madison Square Garden, headlining a huge boxing card. And in the co-main event, Alicia Baumgartner, Chicago's own, will defend her IBF, WBC, and WBO belts against Aleem McCallum for the undisputed junior lightweight titles, because the vacant WBA title will also be on the line. So while the men don't seem like, some of them don't want to fight each other, the women have no problem. We're going to have undisputed champions, and the best are going to fight the best. So shout out to them. That's going to be this Saturday, again, in New York. And I think it's on DAZN for you streaming fans out there. So that's it for today. Let's get into this NFL Conference Championship stuff. But before we get into the championships, got to talk about some new NFL news. Did you see what the 2023 salary cap's going to be for next year? It increased $16.6 million to a record $224.8 million per team.
Wow. Must be nice.
That's a lot of cabbage.
Must be nice.
So,
and that's because of all the TV revenues that's taking place?
TV revenues, the streaming revenue that's coming in. Wait till the actual betting revenue kicks in, man. It's really going to get crazy.
So with that being said, is it safe to say that Lamar's better off holding off on signing the contract now?
Again, my point of view is Lamar shouldn't sign a contract unless it's the contract he wants. And if they try to franchise him, they also announced what the franchise tags are. And for you folks out there, there are 2 types of franchise tags. There's the non-exclusive franchise tag, which for quarterbacks is guaranteed at $32.4 million for a 1-year deal. But for the exclusive, which means nobody else can negotiate with you, and if somebody else, with the non-exclusive, somebody else can offer you a contract, you accept it, and they let you go, then the other team gets 2 first-round picks. With the non-exclusive, with exclusive, no one else can talk to you. That's estimated to be somewhere between $45 to $49 million.
Hey, Wills, what's going on, bro? You on mute.
Just kidding. What's going on, Junkie? How y'all doing?
What's good?
Good. I can't complain, man. Excellent weekend of football. I'm sure y'all touched on that already.
Right.
So you right on time. We just talking about this new almost $225 million salary cap that each team gonna have, and then they're gonna be crying like they ain't got money to pay the players.
Wow.
So it's going to be interesting. Like I said, Lamar, until he gets the contract he wants, just say I'm good. Worst case scenario, he's going to end up with $45 to $50 million on an exclusive franchise tag that the Ravens have to pay. And then if he doesn't get the contract he wants the next year, then they got to give him a 20% raise on that.
Wow.
And then he'll get to see Joe Burrow's new contract because he's getting ready to get a new deal. Jalen Hurts got to get a new deal because he's going into the last deal of his contract. So it's going to be interesting. Speaking of interesting, these NFL owners got enough money to pay all these coaches. They fired coaches, still got guaranteed contracts, but got to hire coaches. But they complain about the players. Up until early this afternoon, we had only one head coaching vacancy filled, and that was the Carolina Panthers, who hired former Colts head coach Frank Reich as their new head. Now, but I felt a little some way about that because interim head coach Steve Wilks, a black man, took a 1-4 team that was struggling, that looked like they didn't want to play at all, and ended up finishing the season going 6-6 in 12 games he coached and had them 1/2 away from winning the division, but he don't get the job.
Well, you already know what that's about. I mean, come on, man. How they gonna pick up Frank Reich when he just left the Colts and they ain't do nothing but stink up their division?
Then the owner came out today and said it wasn't about race. It was about this is their new thing that they're doing. The league is going offensive, so we wanted an offensive coach. Yes, most
really?
of the coaches in the NFL, what side of the ball they coach on?
Offense?
No, defense. So they'll get a chance to be coordinators. You got a bunch of 30-year-old, mid-30 white offensive coordinators, but to be a black offensive coordinator, you got to be damn near 50 to get a job.
That's sad.
Yep.
I feel that's offensive.
So it'll be interesting to see what the NFL does because we still have that lawsuit that's out there that came from Miami coach Brian Flores.
So let me ask you a question. What's your thoughts on Eric Bieniemy talking to the Ravens for another offensive coordinator position?
I think Bieniemy is just trying his best. If he wants to be a head coach, but in order for him to do that, he's got to be in a situation where he's separated from Andy Reid.
Well, so we already know that the chances of him becoming a head coach right about now are slim to none. So why leave a winning organization and take your chance at going somewhere that you're not going to be the head coach? And if you're lucky, you can get another offensive coordinator position, but then you don't end up winning and you stuck right where you're at. Does that make sense? Or am I missing something?
Well, he's never going to get the credit of what he's doing with Kansas City because who do you always hear about? Andy Reid. Andy Reid always gets the credit about their wins and losses. So I think if he wants to attempt to try to get a long-term head coaching position in the future, that he needs to leave Kansas City.
Good luck there, buddy.
Yeah, it's a shame the stuff some of us have to go through to try to be an NFL coach, and then others.
Slide right in.
Belichick hires his son and his daughter, and they on the coaching. Yeah,
you know it.
And this afternoon, we got information that 2 more head coaches were hired. And remember last week I told y'all that I didn't think that Sean Payton would take a job. But if he was going to take it, it was going to be the Denver job just because that Walmart money just going to be too much money for him to just walk away from.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's where he's going.
How do y'all think he's going to work out with Russell Wilson? Excuse me.
If any coach who was out there available can improve Russell Wilson, I think Peyton has the capability. Because if you think about what Peyton did with his offenses when Drew Brees got hurt, he had winning periods with multiple different quarterbacks that weren't Drew Brees. So he's able to change his offense to fit whoever he's got. The question is Russ done?
He doesn't look the same to me. He definitely came off like a system quarterback. Or are you speaking as far as done with the team? Or done arm talent wise?
I'm talking about done where he gets to the point where Russ don't look like he want to get hit anymore. And when quarterbacks don't want to get hit anymore, that's a problem.
I can definitely see that. Nobody wants to get hit when you're just trying to hop in your car and let's ride.
Yeah, but you think about it. It may be that he's tired or he's ready to let it go, because it's not like he doesn't have decent receivers, and he has a decent running core. Now the offense, I mean, you know, they who they are, but I mean, he has receivers, he has running backs.
Is it fair to say he was a pure system quarterback who needs his athletic side to be in tip-top shape to stay a premier quarterback athlete in this league? With his athleticism deteriorating a little bit, his age starting to show, you can't get out the pocket as much, because a lot of what made him was his ability to extend the play. If you can't extend plays and you're not the greatest pocket passer, how much success can you have at this level? And Denver expects Super Bowls. When they get you a Super Bowl coach with a former Super Bowl quarterback, they're expecting to go right back. They feel like they got the winning combination. So I wonder how short the leash would be, because now they're thinking, okay, we had Russell Wilson there, and this is going to help us win us a Super Bowl. Maybe we're not so impressed with Russell right now. We're overly impressed with Sean Payton, and we still feel like we got that same window if we can just find the right quarterback.
All excellent points. I guess it's all to be determined. One thing about Russell, he just signed that extension this year. He still has another year left on his contract from Seattle before that extension even kicks in.
Wow.
Now I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna throw a little dirt in here, even though I'm a Russell Wilson fan. But look what Geno Smith did with that team after he left. You know, and they didn't change no offensive line. They didn't get any new receivers. I mean, he literally just walked in where Russell left and took them damn near to the playoffs.
Yeah, but he had all those draft picks that they got from trading Russell and the players. They got 2 starting players and 3 draft picks that they used this season and had a good draft. I think the coach for the Seahawks does better with younger teams. He needs younger players that he can mold, and
Pete
Carroll that hasn't heard his message over and over and over again. So now that he's got a young team and a quarterback who's trying to prove himself, who for most people didn't even know was still in the league, all that works for him. So it'll be interesting to see what the Seahawks do next year.
So do you think Geno's going to start next year?
Yeah, he's earned the starting position. He's earned a new contract. It's just how long of a contract they're going to give him and how much money. But Geno should get at minimum 3-year deal somewhere in the $85 to $100 million range.
Woo!
Wow.
Because of what he did last year. So
you mean this season.
Way to go, Geno. Way to go.
That's cheap in NFL quarterback money when you consider everybody else is looking at $200+ million. So
true.
What do y'all think before we get into these games of the Houston Texans hiring San Francisco 49ers defensive coordinator DeMeco Ryans, who is a University of Alabama graduate, Roll Tide Alabama football player, as their next head coach? Bless you, brother. The third black coach they didn't hired in a row. But at least this time, Ryan's got a 6-year contract. But would you have taken that job?
Well, I mean, yes and no. And I say that because right about now, we're always complaining that we don't have an opportunity to be a head coach. We already know that's a dumpster fire location, but it gives him the opportunity to showcase his skill set as a leader. Now, what happens if he doesn't stay for 6 years or if he doesn't fulfill that contract? At least he had that opportunity. I hear you, BJ, but again, we can't say we want certain positions, but when we get the opportunity, we don't take them.
But why do we have to take the worst positions in the league?
Because we always got to prove ourselves 2 times over. That's not going to change.
I hear you.
You know it, and I know it.
I understand his reasoning. He was drafted by the Texans, played there for 6 years. So he's very close to Houston, still has his home in Houston. But I don't know if I could have taken that job after they just fired 2 black head coaches after 1 season.
Take the money and run, DeMeco.
Exactly.
Try your best. If it doesn't work, take that money and run. Be professional as possible. It's unfortunate that, yes, you don't want to necessarily take on the bottom barrel job, but you got a foot in. It actually gives you an opportunity that if you can turn mess into bless, then you could possibly ask for more. They'll be looking for more guys like you who think like you, who look at the offensive and defensive schemes like you. It could open up doors to something new, but I agree with both you all. I hate the fact that it's probably the worst job on the market, but at the same time, somebody got to do it. If it wasn't him, it was somebody. So, brother, take that money. Take that check.
I hear you. So that only leaves 2 head coaching positions currently open. Arizona, which is another dumpster fire with a quarterback that may or may not play at all next season because he blew out his knee. And the Indianapolis Colts has got a crazy owner who's talking about, from what I'm hearing from back channels, prefers to give Jeff Saturday the permanent job.
So he wants a puppet. That's what he wants.
Yeah.
He wants a puppet.
But then you got people like Mike LaFleur and Kellen Moore, who were offensive coordinators before for the Jets, Moore for Dallas. They get fired, and within a day, they got a new job.
Of course. But
Byron Leftwich can't get a job.
Right. After he had 2 winning seasons.
Won a Super Bowl.
Right.
Was offense coordinator for a Super Bowl team.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Let me stop because I can talk about this for the whole show.
Maryland's own. DMV own.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the game that was actually compelling. Number 1 Chiefs against number 1 Bengals in Arrowhead. Yo, last week I meant to say it, but I didn't get a chance. I was going to say that in the hierarchy of current NFL quarterbacks, you got Mahomes and Joe Burrow, and then there's a gap. Then you got Josh Allen, and then there's a gap. And then you got everybody else under that. But what Mahomes did Sunday? Yeah. On basically one and a half legs. Yo, I don't know about y'all, but that was so impressive. He beat Joe Burrow at Joe Burrow's game.
Yeah,
hand in his pocket. I'm gonna pick you apart. He was already missing one of his starting wide receivers. Two other ones go down in the first half. So he's throwing the fourth and fifth string wide receivers that nobody even heard of, and goes 29 for 43, 326 yards, 2 TDs, and then on a bad wheel, rushed 9 yards to get a critical first down to get hit going out of bounds to add 15 yards so they can kick the winning field goal. Yeah. Mahomes is just different, fellas.
So I was getting ready to say, yeah, you know, the positive thing about Mahomes is he doesn't favor any receivers. He spreads the wealth, and that makes it hard for defenders to determine who he's going to throw to. Like if you look at Dallas, right? We all know that Dak is going to look for CeeDee Lamb. He's going to be his first option. Or if you look at you can't say the Rams anymore because they don't have a star receiver. But you look at if you look at Miami, okay, well, you got Waddle on one side and you got Cheatham on the other. Cheetah. You know that's who Tua's going to look at. But with Mahomes, everyone gets to eat.
Yeah.
2 tight ends eating, receivers eating, running backs eating, everybody getting full.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. Also, the Chiefs' defense stepped up, especially got to give a shout out to defensive tackle Chris Jones. Chris Jones ruined Cincinnati's offense. I mean, besides the 2 sacks he got, he was beating them boys all game long, that they had to change how they was blocking and had to start keeping the running back in that they would usually put out in the pass patterns because they couldn't block him. So
he actually, in my opinion, I think he stepped up like 5, maybe 6 games ago, and ever since then, he's just been going full steam ahead.
Yeah, it was scary, but you know how they killed Dak Prescott for throwing 2 interceptions in his playoff game?
Right.
You ain't hear too much discussion about the bad game that Joe Burrow had and the 2 bad interceptions he threw.
Not really. It was a close game. I mean, the final factor was that dumbass play at the end when the defender hit Mahomes out of bounds. That right there just ruined the game because it should have went into overtime.
Yeah.
Mistake. Yeah, that mental mistake cost them the possibility of a OT drive winning the game. So yeah, I expect more out of Burrow. I think that's probably why people not necessarily gave him a pass, but it caught him off guard. They felt like that was an off game for Burrow. For Dak, it's almost like, well, you're waiting on it. You gotta come. There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
And inherited it from Tony Romo. It was it's weird. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. And about the comments that the mayor of Cincinnati. The Kelce's are from Cincinnati. They're from Ohio, right outside of Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. So to be that disrespectful to Mahomes talking about taking a paternity test and all that. Yeah. He deserved that. He deserved that. So now we got to talk about the game that ended up not being even a game.
Ooh, good Lord. Somebody let that stink out. Good God, that was funky.
For a whole week, everybody was talking about what is Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles offense going to be able to do against the number 1 San Francisco 49ers defense. Nobody said that the number 3 NFL defense was the Eagles, and the best pass rush, 3rd all time in sacks in the history of the NFL, was the Eagles defensive line. Ooh. So they went out to prove a point, and Hassan Reddick, when he hit Brock Purdy, I thought he broke his arm.
He got him up out of there for sure. He smashed that guy. That was personal. That was personal. You can't disrespect guys that work that hard. I don't care if you are the number one defense. We're number 3. How do you look down on us?
Hey, I'm going to admit I was one of the ones who thought that Eagles defense was not going to show up, and they proved me wrong. They definitely proved me wrong.
And then I felt bad for my man Josh Johnson. All he trying to do is collect some checks. He know his check catching time is limited. He get thrown in the game he wasn't expecting to play in. And the first series, he gets sacked. Hassan Reddick coming off the end again. He almost stripped the ball from him. Then he ends up start worrying about the rush, drops a shotgun snap, ends up fumbling, and then the add insult to injury. What Ndamukong Suh did when Ndamukong Suh hit Josh Johnson, that wasn't nice. It's 360 pounds, fellas. He hit him full speed, and when that head bounced off the carpet, I was like, oh, no, they can lose another quarterback. So the Eagles defense took out both of their starting quarterbacks and said, now what you do.
Yep.
Hey, Trent Williams out there doing wrestling moves at the end of the game.
Yeah, he's a little salty by being embarrassed.
Big salty.
The Eagles defense, in the 2 games they played in the playoffs, giving up a combined 14 points. 1 touchdown each game.
Wow. Much respect. Much respect.
The offense doesn't have to do much. All they was basically doing was running the ball.
So what's the prediction for the Super Bowl, fellas? Don't everybody get quiet.
Come on, David. I'll let you go first.
I'm going to tip my cap. If it gets close and experience is needed to pull out the victory, I'm going to tip my cap to Kansas City right now, just in case it gets close.
If you look at the analytics, the Eagles had the best offensive line in the game, the best defensive line in the game, the best overall defense in the game, the best cornerbacks in the game, the best running back group in the game, the best.
Is DJ allowed to do that? Is DJ allowed to do that? Sorry, Big
right? Yeah, BJ. I guess he trying to keep it in Pennsylvania. That's all.
Right. Yeah, that's all that is.
They got the best wide receivers in the game, with the exception of Kelsey. So literally, the only advantage Kansas City has is better head coach and Patrick Mahomes. But Patrick Mahomes, that dude.
Yeah, he's ready for the limelight. He's been there before. His brother and his wife have been chilling. They ready to put on the show. This is their time to shine. We're looking at this all wrong.
In order for the Eagles to beat them, they got to blow them out. If they don't blow them out and have a wide margin in the second half and leave it 10 points or less, he that dude. I would love to see Jalen win because, as you know, even though he finished his college football career at Oklahoma, Jalen Hurts is a University of Alabama graduate. He's an Alabama football player, true and true. And you ask him what he is, that's what he is. So I would love to see him do that and become another black quarterback that is visibly, when you look at him, a black quarterback. Patrick Mahomes, a black quarterback, not taking any shade from him. But when you look at Jalen Hurts, he is true and true, and he would be the first, quote unquote, running black quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
You're going to make me pull for Philly. You keep dropping stats like that.
So we'll get more into that next week. let's talk about this NBA. And I'm glad we got our man Jay Wills here. First, we got to give a shout out to LeBron James, fellas. 117 points away from passing and becoming the all-time leading scorer in NBA history, passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So he's going to do that sometime next week.
It looks like it.
If he plays 4 to 5 games over the next time he's playing right now against the Knicks, based on what he's scoring, y'all know that LeBron has been scoring like 34 points a game since like MLK.
He's been going off. He's been going off. And if he playing the Knicks tonight, he likes that. Are they in Madison Square Garden?
They're in Madison Square Garden.
He might get 50. I don't know how far they are in the game, but it's something about that arena that really does it for him. This is impressive. Yeah. And the guy looks like he's not stopping any time soon. He wants to play with his son. And LeBron can go another 5-6 years averaging 15 coming off the bench. He doesn't have to be the starter giving you 34 since MLK. You know, so where he's about to put this record, he's going to put it in a place that may be unreachable. I know it's not good to say that about records because they're meant to be broken, but unless you're going to walk into the NBA or into a horrible franchise with a coach who doesn't know exactly what they're doing and run roughshod over the whole entire league from day one. If he didn't average 20 his rookie season, it had to be 19.9. The guy's been a scorer. He's been a lot to deal with. And as he's getting closer to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he's showing you that he may need to be mentioned as the GOAT, if not amongst the GOATs. Not get into the depths of that. That's a long conversation.
Yeah, we're going to do that conversation a little later. But just to give y'all some idea of the width of LeBron's career, 38,271 points going in tonight's game, which is second. 10,550 rebounds, which is 32nd all time. He's got 10,327 assists, which is 6th all time, and he only needed 9 assists to pass both Mark Jackson and Steve Nash, which are career point guards.
That's crazy.
So he'll end up 4th, at worst, 4th all-time in assists in NBA history. And he's got 2,175 steals, 9th all-time. And he added over 1,000 blocks.
9th in steals, and you're a 6'9", 260-pound runaway train.
Putting in work. He's putting in work.
He masterfully plays the passing lanes. That's great. 9th? Come on, man. That's unreal. His stats unreal. That's not even great.
I'm a huge Jordan fan. I think Jordan was the best all-around winner and killer in NBA history. But if you're looking at all-around game, LeBron's got the best all-around game we've ever seen in the NBA.
Yeah, but you do realize, so just real quick, with his stats, I mean, this is an individual that's been in the league for 20 years. So if he would have went to college for 4 years, at a minimum of 4 years, that number would would decline. It would be decreased. It wouldn't be as high as it is. By him being in the league as long as he's played, he should have high stats, in my opinion.
Yeah, but there's been other players that came directly into the league straight out of high school, nowhere near the stats that he has. And remember, LeBron came into the league as a pass-first player. They was like, he's more Magic than Jordan. Nah, he's LeBron.
Right.
He can score like Jordan. He just didn't want to. He could have been a 30-plus point scorer all his career. That wasn't what his goal was. He wanted to make the team work. So to be number one in scoring and end up top 5 in assists,
that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9 in steals. That's
very impressive. Very impressive.
But he don't
very
play
impressive.
defense. Yeah. So shout out to LeBron and all amazing things. Jay Wills, what you think's going to happen with this impending coming trade deadline on February 9th? We already got last week. We got the Washington Wizards shipping old Rui Hachimura out to the Lakers for Kendrick Nunn and a bag of donuts and a pack of Cools. He said he wanted to play someplace that wanted him.
It's kind of hard to say with. You do have some guys who are sitting right at the cusp of their contracts. Kelly Oubre, Mason Plumlee, and the league. I would say there's more talent, but the teams that are really ready to make a move, and you target a nice player, he's a young guy, you need some energy. Does the team that have the young, energetic rookie first or second year player, do they give up their potential talent that they like right now for a pick that may not get them what they have right now to help out that veteran squad that's trying to make that final playoff push? So you got a lot of teams that want to wheel and deal, but they may wait to the last minute. It's interesting that LA and Washington was able to make a deal so early, but they do business all the time.
Right.
The Lakers have just become Washington West when you added Rui Hachimura, because now you got Westbrook out there, Thomas Bryant, and Rui. You got the whole wing and the point guard that was just here.
Good point. They couldn't do nothing while they were here.
Not too long ago, right? And so we're going to have to see. We're definitely going to have to see.
You think any big names will get moved? I mean, you got people out there like for the Bulls, they got a couple of people that aren't playing up to what they expected. DeMar DeRozan's got 1 year on his contract. Supposedly Zach LaVine was talking about being shopped around. He just signed a 5-year max contract. It's just in his first year. You got what's going on in Atlanta with Trey and the head coach beefing. You still got the stuff that's going on in Phoenix with the head coach and DeAndre Ayton beefing back and forth. Jay Crowder been on a milk carton all year. They won't even allow him to come to the team before they trade him. So you think any big deals will happen?
There's a few squads where they may consider just blowing it up. Phoenix, I don't think you're going to make a deep run. You may want to think about blowing it up. ATL, you look good at times, but are you going to really make it deep into the playoffs? How long are you going to keep those rookie contracts going on with Trae Young? And I forget the guy he throws the oops to all the time. It skips my mind. I was very live for one of them. Collins. I think his last name was Collins. You may want to blow right now with the Clippers. They possibly should blow that up after everybody gets their AARP cards and decides to show to the game. So you got a whole bunch of I don't know. That's why it's not a whole lot of energy going into this this trade deadline, because I don't think people want to move as many pieces, or are they willing to really give it up just to get something back that you don't necessarily like? Now, from them top tier teams, yeah, they may try to make a move, and they probably want to keep it on a hush-hush. Bradley Beal name is about to pop up, linked to 10 different teams. That's just how it goes. Everybody's looking for a shooter going into the playoffs. So his name is going to pop up. But for everybody else, I don't know. We just got to wait and see. They're not chirping like they usually do. You usually hear a couple of things, but they're not talking as much, in my opinion.
Gotcha. Yeah, you figure there's basically the way it's looking right now. in the East, you got two teams that look like they've kind of separated themselves from the pack with the Celtics and the Bucks. And I think the Bucks just keep cruising. They're not rushing anybody back. They're telling Middleton, take your time. You can come off the bench, only play 10, 15 minutes. Giannis, take a day off. So they seem like they just cruising, waiting for the final push. The Celtics seem like they ready to go. They got the best record in the NBA. 76 has actually been looking pretty good lately. They're only 3 games back of the Eastern Conference lead. Embiid's trying, I think his whole thing is he's trying to win an MVP this year.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't know if that's good for the team, but it looks like Harden took a step back and said, okay, we're going to run everything through Joel and see where we go. And then I don't know what to say about your Nets. I mean, what's KD going to look like when he come back from his latest injury, which is the leg injury?
Right.
He doing load management, man. Stop playing.
It might be with them. They might need my man, because it seemed like everybody spread by 2-3 games.
Yeah, it's like I said, you got the Celtics up front, the Bucks 2.5 games back, the Sixers 3 games back, the Nets 4.5 games back, the Cavaliers, who unfortunately their biggest pickup is currently hurt. But they're still hanging in there. But I think that's it. Everybody else, the Heat, the Knicks, the Wizards, the Hawks, I don't think they have any chance coming out the East. The Western Conference is going to be the conference that's going to be crazy.
It is.
Because you got the Nuggets and Memphis, 1-2, and they kind of separated from everybody else. But we got to give some love to them Sacramento Kings. Sacramento been third in the West for most of the year. And they playing good basketball with a bunch of young kids. I think they got like 4 players from Kentucky.
They just missing John Wall. That's all. You got to start.
But they balling. And with Sabonis playing huge, I mean, I thought it was just a blip. But when you done played 49 games and you 28-21, they for real.
They playing some ball. They play great team basketball. They're going to be a problem for somebody in the playoffs. They don't have much playoff experience, so that's why, even though they're doing really well, I don't expect them to make a lot of noise. If they stay at third and they end up playing that 6 seed team, possibly that same team, if they have some experience in it, if they bump into Golden State, they're going to have a problem if they make it. So it's interesting, but you got to tip the cap to them, because right now during the regular season, they're doing what they need to do just in case if they start losing some games, you still got a top seed.
Right.
So that's good for them.
And you got to tip your cap to Mike Brown. When he took that job, I was like, why would you take that job? But he's got them boys playing like Golden State North. They're trying to do their thing. But speaking of Golden State, quietly, they starting to turn up the pressure a little bit. They went from 12th to 10th. Now they climbed up to 5th. They're only 2.5 games back from Sacramento at 3rd. And only a half a game back behind the Clippers for 4th. But between 4th and all the way down to the Lakers, who are currently, I think, sitting at 12th, the Lakers are only 3.5 games back of Sacramento. So that battle from 3 to the top 10 to get into the play-in tournament is going to be fierce for these last 30 to 32 games.
That's why LeBron had that emotional breakdown the other night. He knows. Like, look, man, even though we're sitting back in the 13th spot, these fouls is costing me. You've cost me 3 games in the last 3 games. Yeah. And with 3 games back, you're messing up our traction. That's messing with momentum. So, because, yes, it's very tight. That could go anywhere. That's going to get crazy. And that was crazy. They picked up Rui. It's about to get busy in the West. I'm looking forward to after the All-Star break.
Yeah. And it's amazing. The face of the NBA can't get calls. When that stop happening?
They'd have called that foul for Jordan for even looking at him too tough. Don't you dare look at Mike like that in public.
So yeah,
crazy.
A great run to the playoffs in the Western Conference. But in the end, give me your early predictions of who's going to be the Final Four in the East and the West.
Ooh.
The first two should be easy.
You know I'm a homer, so I'm trying to.
Man, stop it. Stop it. They're not even going to make the play in. But
right.
I'm sorry.
I and your homerism.
I'll say Knicks. I'll say Knicks, Hawks. And I would like to be able to say Bulls and the Heat.
Did he understand the question you had?
Yeah, I think he was thinking the last four that's going into the playoffs. I was talking about give me your Final Four, your Eastern Conference semifinals, and your Western Conference semifinals. You had me scared for a second.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Final Four. That will be I'll give it to the top four. That'll be, I'll say Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Boston, and
the 76ers.
There you go. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, I'm helping you out. Don't worry about it.
Appreciate it.
Who do you think gonna be the Final Four in the West?
Too early for me to call it. I wish I was that guy to just throw something out there. I don't know. I can't say.
Denver, Memphis, maybe Sacramento, and then the Warriors.
I think LA's gonna find a way to get
Sacramento. I think it's going to be. I like everybody except for Sacramento. I think Dallas is going to find a way. I think Luke is going to find a way to end up in that Final Four somehow.
And I don't want to sleep on the New Orleans Pelicans either. I think they can slowly but surely put it together.
Yeah, they got to stay healthy. That's the problem.
They do.
That's the problem. That's the problem right there. If everybody was healthy, then yeah, they definitely would have been in there. But
that's like
Ingram
the Clippers.
Hurt, Zach hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Clippers, you don't know when they're going to decide to load manage for 2 weeks. So, yeah. All right. Well, it'll be interesting. Next week, we will give you our Super Bowl predictions. We'll be joined next week by the lovely ladies of Ladies Point of View to give their female perspective on the Super Bowl. And then from now on, each week, we're going to be talking about NBA basketball, college basketball, and we're going to get a little hockey in there from time to time. Let y'all know about what's going on in the puck game. All right, fellas, it is about time for us to get up out of here. Before we do that, we got to give the folks our final post of the evening. Jay Wills, why don't you start us off?
I just want to tell everybody I love you. Continue to be safe. It was a pleasure being able to talk sports with you all once again. Hope to be back soon.
We miss you, brother. Anytime you got the time, you know, all you got to do is jump on. J3, what you got for me?
Yeah, so tomorrow starts Black History Month. If you don't do anything, at least make a difference in somebody's life one time.
Powerful statement. Powerful statement. I'd like to give a shout out to a player, college basketball player we mentioned a couple of years ago, Deontay Johnson, who currently plays for Kansas State, but previously played for Florida. A couple of years ago, in the midst of the pandemic, he actually passed out on the basketball court and had cardiac issues. Luckily, he survived, but the University of Florida would not clear him to play. He had to go to the NBA and other specialists to get cleared to play basketball University of Florida said, we'll honor your scholarship, but you're not playing for us because we're not going to risk you falling out again on the court. So he transferred to K-State. Now he's the star player at Kansas State, who's currently a top 12 team in the nation. So shout out, young man. You're following dreams. I hope all the doctors you've seen did the right thing and you're truly healthy enough to play the game. But he's balling. He beat the University of Kansas last week hit the game-winning shot, scored 25 points, had like 13 rebounds. He's doing his thing. So shout out. All right, as usual, folks, we'd like to thank you all for tuning in and listening. We definitely appreciate your time and opportunity to share our positions on sports with you. Again, please, I apologize for the technical difficulties. I hope this point of view coming from the cell phone wasn't too bad, but I wanted to make sure we got you in and let you know what's going on in the minds of posts. We're here each and every Tuesday at 8 p.m. for our live show. You can also download this show and previous shows via our Facebook page or our YouTube channel. Just go into Positions on Sports Talk Show. Please like and subscribe. Subscription is free. Or if you prefer, go to your favorite podcasting platform. Again, put in Positions on Sports Talk Show. You can find previous shows we downloaded. And we'd also love to hear from you. Hit us up on Instagram and Facebook at Positions on Sports. Have a safe weekend. Have a safe week. We appreciate you. Be safe. And the flu and COVID still out there mad, so protect yourselves. Peace.
See ya.
Should have been better prepared.